Hey guys, Ty with Cincy Diesel Repair. Today I got this 2007 3500 dually, obviously. Truck belongs to a dealership. It's only got 121,000 on it. It is the 6.7. It's deleted. The issue we're having is, and I already kind of got started here, the issue they're having is the truck stalling. When it gets warm and it's at idle or under load, it doesn't matter. When it gets warm, it stalls out. It can just be sitting there idling. I noticed right off the bat it's got a new injection pump. And of course with the injection pump, the fuel regulator was new, which it's not going to be that anyway. Usually when this goes bad, which they call the FCA, the fuel control actuator, that'll cause like a surging. It can cause stalling, but it'll act real goofy. This one's not doing anything. It just shuts off. No check engine light, anything like that. So the reason I have it tore apart is the first thing I did was I checked lift pump pressure. So I plugged in the gauge coming out of the pump, or I'm sorry, out of the filter housing, because I wanted to check the pressure after the filter to the pump. And we had I think it had like 12 psi and it was still stalling out. So I'm going to show you what it does here. It's a really clean truck. Somebody took good care of it, and I'm guessing after tearing it apart, you can see it's clean. After taking it apart, I believe they probably traded it in because of this issue. They got tired of putting money at it because they put a new injection pump on it and whatever else. So let me try to get, now all these are false codes because I have stuff unplugged under there. So we'll clear these out and I'll get this thing up to temperature. But again, this thing stalls. It'll stall over and over and over and over, but it will not give you a check engine light. Right now I got the lights on, like I said, because stuff's unplugged. But anyway, let me get this up to temperature. As you can see, it is cold. I have not started. It's about 47 degrees out. So let me get it up to temperature and I'll show you when it starts to stall. Okay, so it hasn't stalled yet, but if you look at the duty cycle monitoring, you can see the computer is turning yellow because it's telling me there's a problem. It's 71%. And here's the commanded rail pressure, 4,635, and you can see it's below that, which there is a threshold, but it's going to start to drop here. Let's get the engine coolant temp. There we go. Get the coolant temperature. Oh, don't. I think it just kicked me out. Alright, hold on. Okay, so it hasn't installed on me yet, but it's gonna do it here in a minute. Here's our set pressure. This is what the computer wants to see at the rail, 4,600. We're at 3,700, and it's gonna keep dropping. The duty cycle of the high pressure common rail, it started around 20 to 26 when this thing was cold, and it's kept going up, and the computer's turned it yellow to let me know there's an issue. It's outside of the specifications. We're at 158 degrees of coolant. Let's see if I can get it to stall. See it jump up there real quick? And for some reason, it's always around about 160 degrees, 170 degrees. But when this gets down to about 3,000 psi, it'll shut off. It'll go 3,000, then it'll drop to about 28, and that'll be it. But notice the duty pressure, or the duty percentage, just keeps climbing. And if I raise it, it jumps way outside of spec. There it went. Now I've got more rail pressure. That's the first time I've seen that. Now look at the duty cycle. Now it's dropping, and my rail pressure's doing fine. There goes the duty cycle. Watch the duty cycle start to climb, and you'll see the rail pressure starting to fall. There goes the duty cycle. It's climbing and climbing. We're about 162 degrees. It's climbing. Right around, I think it's 70%, it's going to turn yellow because that's outside of spec. There it goes. We're still losing rail pressure. I'm trying to capture this thing when it actually stalls out. But of course this time it's being a little more stubborn. When you blurp the throttle like that, or throttle snap it we call, then you can really see the rail pressure drop. Oh, we're getting close. 3,100, 3,000. We've hit 75%. Here it goes. 29. If I blurp the throttle right now, it would die. I have no doubt. I'm trying to let it do it on its own. And it's just barely hanging in there. That duty cycle. Let's blurp it. There it goes, 28. Oh, it should. Oh, there it went. All right. So now that's what it would do. But cycle the key. It fires back up. And it wouldn't throw a check engine light. Now watch the duty cycle again. It's going to continue to climb, and if I snap the throttle, it just makes it go faster. There it goes. 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 60, 70. So there's a correlation here between this pump having to work harder to keep this pressure up. The pump is trying to get back up to this pressure, but it's losing, and this is in the high pressure rail, or in the high pressure system. So I believe the first things we're going to do is we're going to do an injector cutout test. That could potentially show me a cracked injector that is bleeding off excessive fuel, and therefore we can't build enough pressure. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check the coolant crossover tubes that go in through the side of the engine block and make sure one of those didn't come untorqued. And I'm kind of thinking that might be more where we're headed here. Is one of those a split, or it's not seated right in the injector. Now I did check the oil. The oil is at the proper level. It doesn't smell like diesel or anything funny like that. It's fine, which is typically you get that diesel dilution with a cracked injector tip or something like that. But we're going to cover all the bases here. I'm not going to record the injector cutout test because I really don't think I'm going to get anywhere with it, but I just wanted to show it I mean, look at that. You snap the throttle, the percentage goes to 99%. And it's actually running better today than it has in a while. The other day I had it stalling out real quick. But it's obviously, I mean, there's obviously a problem. We're well off of where we should be. So let me do a few tests and I'll get back on here with you guys. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. Basically, I can't remember where I left off on the last video, or last part of this video. It's a different day, different time, but we removed the injector lines in the rail, and we removed, I got this covering up the heater grid so nothing falls down in there, and I got my gloves on because it's 20 something degrees and I despise cold. We pulled out all these injector crossover tubes, cleaned them and checked the ends for any cracks, checked the tube for any cracks. I did all 6. That back one's a pain in the butt to get to, but you can do it. I find it a little easier if you pull the valve cover off. That's just me, you don't have to. I didn't find any issues with those. So right now I'm going to put them back in, and if you notice that little keyway there, so you got to put it in, twist, and then shove, and you'll feel it pop in. And then this is the nut that holds them in place. So you're going to put this, let me get a better, there we go, that's a little better, isn't it? Put this, slides over it. You're going to tighten it all the way down by hand. Kind of got to wiggle it a little, which for me it's hard to work in gloves, but my hands aren't what they used to be in cold weather. Anyway, you're going to go down through there, install all of them, tighten them by hand, then you're going to come back and torque them with a 24 millimeter and a torque wrench. The old torque was 37 foot-pounds. They revised that torque to 41 foot-pounds. So I recommend if you're doing this, go ahead and do the 41 foot-pounds. Now, let's be realistic. Not everybody has high dollar torque wrenches. You know, I know you can get them cheaper, Harbor Freight and stuff like that. But I'm a field mechanic. Sometimes you didn't have what you needed and you had to get something up and going. So, my best advice, if you don't have a torque wrench, 24 millimeter in a socket on, let's say, a 1/2 inch, you're not gonna tighten these things until your eyeballs pop out. You know, 41 foot-pounds is basically a good snug tight. Now by doing this, if you over tighten them, you're going to risk the end of that tip where it goes into the injector. You're going to risk damaging it in the injector if you really crank on this thing hard. If you leave them loose, you could run into the same problem this truck's having, where it just runs out of fuel pressure, won't build fuel pressure. So just understand that. I understand sometimes you got to do what you got to do. All I'm saying is get them good and tight, but don't be twisting on them like crazy. I mean, they just need to be good and a good solid clamping force pushing this in the injector. Sorry, I got the messages going. The other thing I did, the other reason I took that cover off, is in the back of this head is another relief port that relieves the built-up fuel pressure in the head that is unneeded. While I was there, I pulled it out. This one goes to, you got to take that one out right there to get the injector rail off. But I pulled it out, and all it is a banjo bolt. This is literally the one out of the back of the head. So I wanted to see, you know, if it was dirty, plugged up, which if it was plugged up, I wouldn't be getting the symptoms. You'd be having high rail pressure spikes. But I just wanted to check it, and mainly these washers. And let me see if I can. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but that one's got some damage. What it is it's a washer with a rubber. Cummins loves to use these. It's got like a rubber ring molded to the washer, and that one's got a little, it doesn't look the best. So we're going to replace that, put this back in the back of the head, and then once I get this thing all back together, we'll start it up. If this didn't fix the problem, then we'll move on. But this is the first place I wanted to go, because I know the FCA is good. Before I tore this apart, I don't think I put it on video, but the fuel actuator, basically a pressure actuator right there. And obviously this is a newer injection pump, but I mean, these usually cause like a surging, but they can cause a stalling. I replaced it with a known good one I have off of a running truck. Didn't fix it. So I know you guys are going to say that, but that's not what it is. So next step is to check these fuel crossover tubes. Then after that, what I'm going to do, if this doesn't fix it, well, we'll get to that. Let's first get these. I'm going to get these back in, torqued down. Get all my injector lines, valve cover, common rail, all that back on, everything hooked up, and we'll see if we can see if the problem goes away. Okay, so we're in the truck, and this has been a week or so later because I had to order some. There's these O-rings. Well, they're washers, and in the center there's an O-ring. Oh, I showed you on the other part of the video. Well, I ordered new ones for the that banjo bolt relief port on the back of the head. I went in and put new ones back there, and new ones on the side of the rail, just to be sure I didn't have a leak. Well, it took about a week for me to get those, just with everything going on. So anyway, I retorqued the tubes, the injector crossover tubes on this truck, and just put it back together, nothing else. So let me show you what we've got going on. Okay, so you can see I got the truck started and running. It's totally up to temperature. It's like 180 something on the scanner. It's running great. So again, I didn't replace any crossover tubes. All I did was take them out, clean them, and retorque them. So this is the actual pressure. You can see right here. High pressure common rail fuel pressure. Nope, I'm sorry. The highlighted box is down there. That's the set point, they call it, which is the commanded. So it's asking for 4480. And I'm up at, well, it's kind of bouncing around. So 4480, 44. It's staying right where I want it. Let's put it that way. You remember the last time the actual pressure would drop, it was staying in like 32. And then dropping down from there. And then you remember the duty cycle, which is right there. Remember, this was going up to about 70 as the truck would warm up. We get about 160 to 170 degrees engine coolant temp, and this would just start climbing. And it was when it got up into about 70, 74%, then our fuel pressure would drop. But right now, I am pretty much 100% confident this truck is fixed. There's desired, there's actual. Let me rev the truck a few times and you'll see it doesn't drop down and bog out like it did before. She goes down to about 45 and levels back out. So guys, like I said, I try to keep these videos as short as I can. I mean, I could show you guys every step of this, but you know, you're talking, you know, it'd be an hour-long video even with editing. So I try to keep them 20 minutes or so. and cut out things that, if you don't know how to remove the intake, how to do all that. I figure there's plenty of videos out there, but you guys let me know in the comments, if you want me to show everything. But you're looking at probably an hour-long video on a lot of this stuff. So I know when I'm watching YouTube videos, I start to get bored after about 30 minutes, even if I'm really interested in what I'm watching. But and I've been really bad about the comments here lately, getting back to people, and I apologize. Work's been crazy, side work's been crazy. I got some really kind of interesting stuff coming up I'm going to post, but it's just been absolutely crazy. And then right now it's 55 degrees out and the sun's about to go down. It's been like 60 here near Cincinnati where I live. And then tomorrow it's going to rain all day, temp's going to drop. And then Thursday we're supposed to get some kind of crazy amount of ice, like up to a ½ inch, they're saying. And then Friday 3 to 5 inches of snow. I absolutely hate winter. I hate it. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it so much. I'm trying to get the good content out there. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back to your guys' comments. I promise. Matter of fact, tonight, if I can get in early, I'm gonna sit down and go back and try to answer some stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys have figured it out by now, but I feel bad. Life's just been crazy. I'm trying. So, as always, like, subscribe, and comment. And if I can't help you, maybe somebody in the comments can. So, thanks, guys.